All right. Hey, hello, everybody. Hopefully things are going well for you and you guys are ready to go because, well, I'm excited to not only deliver, but to also make sure that you guys get all the information that you need. So today, what we're going to be going through, going over, going with is all of the information that you need around raising capital. So do me a favor, let me know that you are here. Do me two things. One, give me your name and how many units you will have, how many short-term rental units you will have before the end of this year. Go ahead and type that in the chat. Now, a few little housekeeping things just to make sure. Please confirm. You can see the couple of housekeeping things. I want to make sure that everyone, that means you, has a copy of the workbook. So today we're going to be going through this particular page right here. So if you do not have the workbook at this particular moment, you need to make sure you go get a copy of it. And to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to go over to cashflowdiary.com/workbook because we are going to be on page number 2. Now, for those of you, if this is your first session with us, then you also want to make sure that you go look at what we call the unit section inside of the Facebook group, because inside there is yesterday's information, and yesterday's information is not necessarily a prerequisite, but compounds. Today's information compounds on yesterday's information, and you want to make sure that you have that as well. With that being said, inside there are a number of resources as well as downloads. And if you do not have them, I make you this promise. It will cost you money. Here's what I mean by that. Because you are here, because you are attending, because you are completing the workbook, I will give you the answers, don't worry. Because when you're completing the workbook, it will become worth money to many of you. So make sure that you are staying caught up. Make sure that you are in the know, that you are doing what you must do to make this thing happen. You said at the beginning of the year, or at some time in recently, you said something like, I want to make more money, and you meant 2020. And you may be looking at what is exactly going on right now thinking, oh, well, too late for that. I know. Nope. My friends, you don't even begin to understand. I'm going to show you some things today that's going to enlighten you, but most importantly, encourage you to keep pushing forward. Because as you keep pushing forward, you will understand that there's a great amount of opportunity in front of you and in front of me that I'm excited to guide you through. So make sure that you do that. Now, speaking of guiding you through, we have a number of individuals who are in the chat with us today. They are none other than Robert, and we also have Jeremy, we have Corinne, we've got Wendy, we got John. We have a number of people and Stephanie here to assist you to make sure that if you have any questions, they can get them answered, because that's kind of what we do. For those of you who I'm just now meeting for the first time, welcome. My name is Jay, CEO of CashFlowDiary, and what we simply do is we help you become a bigger, better, badder entrepreneur. Now, we do that through real estate, specifically short-term rentals, with a strong emphasis on cash flow, because that's the thing that matters, right? Is building a business that you don't have to rely on financing in order to be able to keep making your profit. There is no new buyer. There isn't there's no greater fool theory. There's none of that going on. It's just simple, flat, the unsexy operations, just doing the thing day in, day out, building a team to help you do the thing. And then over time, putting yourself in a position in which you get to go build and buy more assets. If you like that, do me a favor, give me a big old thumbs up in the chat, because I want to make sure that I'm talking to the right people. Like, if you want that cash flow, that's what I'm talking about. Very clearly and specifically, the strategy that we are talking about over these next few days is all around short-term rentals, which will do the following. A, help you learn to become a better landlord for long-term real estate asset holding. 2, as you go through the process, you'll take the least amount of risk possible in order to make the business work. 3, You'll learn to make your monthly or your annual income on a monthly basis. And then 4, ultimately put yourself in a position in which now you only need to work an hour a day. That's the goal. That's what we do. And if that's you, like I said, give me a big old thumbs up in the chat, because I want to make sure that like I said, that I'm talking to the right people. All right. Now, today we have a different topic than we did yesterday. So for those of you who were not here yesterday and you're like, oh no, did I miss the good stuff? Well, yeah, you did. You missed some good stuff. And today we've got more good stuff for you in this particular sense. One of the questions that I get all the time is, Jay, how on earth am I ever going to be able to get a unit? I don't have any money, or I got enough money for 1, but I can't get 2, or I could get 5, but man, how am I going to get the next one? How does all of that work? And what's that going to do? Now, there's a number of things and lessons that I hope you pick up from the information that we're going to share with you today. Like a lot of them. All right. And one of them, I'm going to give it to you right now. Okay. Get ready to type this in the chat. Every time I give you one of those things that I want to make sure that you remember, I'm going to ask you to write in the chat. Now, understand that part of the reason I'm doing that is to increase your retention. Myself, the CashFlowDiary team, we've been doing it already. So I'm not saying, hey, writing in the chat for us. We're saying it for you, because when you participate, studies have shown that your retention goes up. You are not going to just sit here and miraculously make a financial improvement or recovery. You will participate in your own rescue if you like it to succeed. Said another way, I mean, if you were ever drowning, guess what? You have to participate in your own rescue. Your participation in that case is, please stop kicking, sit still, let the person do their job. But you have to participate. There's an active role that you must play for this, and honestly, anything to work. So if you were hoping that this was like get rich quick or today, sorry, you're in the wrong place. Now, over time, we can help you. One day, not so much. With that being said, as I said, there's going to be a number of lessons as we go through today that I hope you pick up, okay? Because that's really what I want to make sure that you get and that you understand and are in the ready to receive. Because people ask me, how do I find the money? They ask it all the time, and I know you're probably asking it too. So I want to make sure that you understand that. But one of the first lessons that you will hear from me today, and you will hear it repeatedly in many different ways, almost every time I say anything, is to fail fast, to fail forward, and to fail frequently. I'll say it again, write it in the chat. Fail fast, fail forward, fail frequently. Unfortunately, we have, as humans, adults, definitely, we have lost our connection with the understanding of the importance of failure. And make no mistake, failure is on the road to success. In fact, you don't get to success until you fail. It's a part of it. It's what must be done. Now, with that being said, what I want to do is I want to play for you a video, if I can. I'm just trying to get it to play right over here. See if I can do that. Oh, there we go. All right, so I want to play this. Actually, that's not going to work great. So I want to play this video for you because I think it sets the stage for everything that you're going to learn today. And I want to make sure that at the end of the day, you walk away knowing exactly what the process, what's behind it, and what you are subjecting yourself to when you say things like, I want to be an entrepreneur.
Putting them in situations where they're allowed to fail, and instead of complimenting them for the...
You didn't hear the beginning part. Sorry about it. That was my fault. Technical issue. So here we go. I'll do it again.
So teaching kids how to lead is the same as teaching adults how to lead, right? Putting them in situations where they're allowed to fail, and instead of complimenting them for the thing, letting them try again. like feeling frustrated and trying again. It's one of the funny things about modern dating. I have a friend, a female entrepreneur. I have to say this because it's her story, not mine. You'll see why I'm couching it. She believes that men make better entrepreneurs than women. She believes. But here's what she said. She goes, this is what she explained. She goes, when we're young, men are the social aggressors, right? Men are the ones who are required to ask the girl to prom. If the guy doesn't ask the girl to prom traditionally, then he doesn't go to prom. Where traditionally, the woman waits to get asked to go to prom, for example. And men learn the skill set, boys learn the skill set at a young age of asking somebody out and getting rejected, and then asking them again, and getting rejected again, and learning about humiliation, and just having to suck it up and try again. Otherwise, you're never going to go out on a date. Sort of, this is the traditional dating model. And flash forward later on in life, you see this very often in amongst entrepreneurs, which is, I've seen it happen. I've been in a meeting where a male entrepreneur who's developing a new product that's 20 or 30% done, he'll sell it in the room and figure it out later. And I've seen it with women entrepreneurs who are brilliant and smart, and they're 90% there, and I'm like, tell them. And they're like, it's not perfect yet. I'm like, it doesn't matter, tell them,
Yeah.
And it comes from this strange skill we learned back when we were kids. Now, in this modern day of swiping and dating, now nobody's learning that skill. But I think what we have to learn both for men and for women, and it's not a male-female thing, which is there are circumstances in which all children, regardless of boys or girls, that all children have to learn to try and fail and try again and like struggle through humiliation and figure it out and go through it again, all the time knowing that a parent or a friend is loving and caring and supportive of them all the time. And I think that's the essential part, which is there's always someone who's there who loves me. Because the only way we get courage, I for one believe courage is an external thing, not an internal thing. The reason we jump out of a plane is not because of some deep internal fortitude, is because there's a parachute on our back. It's the parachute that gave us the courage.
Sure.
Right? Many people in this room, men or women who have risked their lives to save the life of somebody else, thinking they were going to die, and through some miracle survived. And I've asked them, why'd you do it? You've got a family, you've got kids. No one ordered you to do it. No one would have ordered you to do it. No one would have faulted you if you didn't do it. You may have even disobeyed an order to do it. Why'd you do it? And they almost all say the same thing, which is, I did it because they would have done it for me. Mm-hmm. The courage comes from the confidence that somebody else has my back. And that's what gives me the confidence to do things even though I'm scared. And so it goes back to those human relationships. As long as a child knows that there's someone there who loves me, then we should allow them to go through those very difficult, frustrating, and uncomfortable lessons.
Now, with that said, you're like, why? What does that have to do with raising capital? Well, like I said yesterday and previously, is that a lot of the techniques that we are going to share with you are simple, right? They're simple and they're easy, meaning that it can be done. So the definition of easy doesn't mean it's that you don't experience some emotion with it. It means you can do it, right? It's not an impossible task. It may feel that way. You may have perceived it that way, but today what is going to happen is a transformation. It is another step in your transformation into becoming a bigger, better, badder entrepreneur. Let me say it this way. Whatever the size of your idea, your dream, the thing that you say that you want, here's the thing that you must know. It doesn't happen on 100% of your resources. Therefore, you must learn to access the resources of other people. Whether it's capital, whether it's experience, whether it's time, talent, knowledge, skills, it doesn't really matter to me. You, the entrepreneur, the one leading this thing, must know how, learn how to attract other people's resources, and especially currency, capital, whatever it is that you want to call it. so that it can be contributed towards the idea that you want to bring to the marketplace. No one is going to there's no easy way out of that one. You will learn it one way or another, or you will pay dearly for not being willing to simply fail. See, the reason I wanted to play that video is because, like I said, it's a very simple process, and I'm going to give it to you, all 7 steps. I'm going to give them to you. But that doesn't make you an expert. What makes you the expert is being willing to fail with them, being willing to try, being willing to be there and know that we, CashFlow Diary, we're here. We're your parachute. That's really what we're saying. We are the parachute that gives you the freedom to fail all the way through the process. We're not expecting you to get it right the first time, unlike maybe you've experienced at school. But if you do, that's great. We'll celebrate with you. But if you fail, we'll celebrate that too. And that's really what I want to communicate as we go through this. If you experience like, oh my God, that's overwhelming. Oh my God, that's a lot. Oh my God. Just tell me how to go talk to a landlord. Well, A, that's tomorrow. And B, tomorrow, when we're talking about talking to a landlord, guess what the process is? It's the exact same process that we're doing today. There are different words, different scripts, different language. So make sure you come back because we're going to give you more expert tools for that. But most importantly, you don't get around it. You go through it. The fact that you may feel afraid by some of the things that I'm going to ask you to do, okay, that's fine. Everyone does that. But develop the courage because we're the parachute. That's what we're asking you to do, okay? Now, when you look at this particular page right here, when you look at that page, you see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. And there's a reason that they are there, and there's a reason that they're there in that order. So if you go ahead and look, I'm going to give you the answers so that you have them, and then we're going to talk about it. Step number 1 is all about the guests. So the guests that stay at your short-term rental, they're some of the best leads. You are looking for an investor, someone who's going to contribute capital to your enterprise to help you make it go. That is what you're looking for. When we're looking for that, we're talking to guests. Number 2, landlords. Number 3, investors, people who may be doing this in a semi-professional, maybe even if it's their first time level. And you say to me, but Jay, I don't know any investors. Someone type that in the chat. That way I can hear it. I'm messing with you guys. You get what I'm saying? I don't know any investors. Okay, got it. That means literally nothing. That means now you know what you need to do next. What you need to do next is go find some, right? Now, the reason I'm saying it's guests, landlords, and investors is because these are all people you already know. They're not hidden. They're not in an ivory tower. They're not inaccessible. They look like everyday people. In fact, every Thursday now for the past few weeks, you have been being introduced to investors. You just didn't think of it that way. The reason I say that is because every Thursday we get an update, especially in the US, around how many people, what the jobs report says, how many people filed for unemployment. Guess what? Any of those 33, or is it 36? Either way, 33 or 36 million people, okay, who have experienced unemployment, you know what each one of them are, especially if they have a 401k? They are a potential investor. Now, you might not have thought of it that way. Wonderful. And that is how I raised my first $5 million of capital, is leveraging other people's retirement plans. So just sit with that for a second. Now, what are you going to do? What is this process? First, like I'm telling you, you have to identify these 3 quote unquote target market individuals. You have your guests, your landlords, and investors. Now, for me, when you are starting as a baby entrepreneur or an entrepreneur in general, you need to have at least 200 of those individuals who you know and know you on that level in that way. Here's the good news. You already have in your phone enough contacts. And now you say to me, but Jay, you don't know my people, they all broke. Wonderful. Write this down, type it in the chat. Ready? Every dud knows a stud. Period. I'll say it again. Every dud knows a stud. What does that mean? You are doing business for the purpose of getting that person to introduce you to everyone they know. Everyone they know. That's what you want. So the fact that they may not be able to participate in a financial sense is not a reason to not call them at all. In fact, it's a reason to call them faster so that you can find out who they know. How do you do that? It's a very simple. Hey, Frank. Now, Frank is the name I tend to use because it's the name that just comes to my head. Hey, Frank, this is Jay. I know it's been a long time since we've talked, and I'm calling for 2 reasons. 1, to catch up. 2, to talk business. Which would you like to do first? And let Frank choose. And when you're done catching up, then talk business. Hey, Frank, have you ever considered getting involved in real estate investing? See, that wasn't hard, now was it? Because I just started the conversation. My point is, your job, even if Frank is not the one with the funds, is to eventually ask him something simple like, Frank, if you had a friend or a family member who was looking to earn a return on their money, even their old 401k at their old job, do you have someone that you could refer them to? The odds are Frank doesn't. My point to you is now the difference will be that you will either use the tool or you won't, because those are the exact words. And if you use it, then you'll make an improvement on your ability to attract capital, because every dud knows a stud. Frank may not have any money himself, but he does know that 3 of the people he used to work with were just laid off and they have their 401ks. And each one of them know people who are also just laid off. And if you know one of those companies that just laid people off, it makes it even easier. Now, doesn't it? Because see, you're solving a problem. That's what entrepreneurs do. We solve a problem. We combine the resources available in a marketplace and solve problems. So now that you understand that the guests, landlords, and investors are steps 1, 2, and 3, what are you doing? You are inviting them to see you as an expert. That is what you are doing. Now, that may be via Zoom. That may be on a podcast. That may be because you got interviewed. That may be because you wrote a book. It may be because all you're doing is playing a cash flow board game with them. I don't care how you invite them or what you invite them to. What I do care about is when you do invite them, that you are the one with the microphone, because the mic makes the money. Write that down. The mic makes the money. If you're the one with the microphone and they're there, mic makes the money. They're going to begin to perceive you as an expert in a completely different fashion. And that's exactly what you want. Now, once that has happened, you're going to go to step 5. You're going to invite them to what I call an investor identity interview. This is where, here's the key, you find out what they want. Do not lead with your need. The marketplace doesn't care what you need at all. No one cares. Well, Jay, all I need is this. I just need to get. No one cares. The marketplace doesn't care what you need. What can you bring? What solution do you have? Oh, you can help me get? Great. Now let's talk. See, that's the mistake most amateurs make. They lead. Oh, well, this is, hey, I have a 7%. Do you want that? No, the marketplace doesn't care. Find out what I'm up to first, and then see if you can solve that problem. Diagnose, then prescribe. You reverse it, it's called malpractice, and it doesn't work. After you do that, after the investor identity interview, you're going to go into what we call a profit analysis quadrant conversation. What that simply means is that you are going to dissect the actual deal that you are concerned about, your short-term rental business, and show people how it works point by point. Some of our students in our higher level program right now on Thursday, they're looking forward to learning more about this because we're going to be doing that this Thursday at 10 a.m. It's going to be great. But understanding the nuances, the language, how to do a deal on a napkin, that's where the PAQ comes in. That is what it is for. That is what it has done. That one tool alone is what has allowed myself and many of the individuals that I've worked with to be able to raise hundreds of millions of dollars. And see, when you've followed it in this order, the only thing left to do is ask them to join you. Do you think it makes any sense? And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, also great. Because either way, you're going to then ask for a referral. And you know what they're going to refer to you? They're going to refer you either a guest, a landlord, or an investor. And you know what you're going to do when you get that person on the phone? You're going to repeat the process. Now, here's the challenge. Some of you, because you believe, because the letters after your name, because of your training, because of your education, because of what you have tried, you believe that what I just went through is too simple to work. And I understand that. And I'm just going to say, I hope you don't allow what you assume to be true to get in the way of what has been factually proven. Now, as you continue to go down, you'll notice that you see the letters IMTD, PIG, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4 major, and you see this thing over here. I want to make sure that you understand a couple of things. Because when it comes down to talking to someone during an investor identity interview, there is a concept known as their investor identity, and you have to align that concept. You have to align their identity along with the transaction, the deal, and everything else that you are looking for. So when I'm talking about the I, that's the investor. The M, that's the marketplace. The T is the team. The D is the deal. All of those things must be in alignment in order for you to avoid ailments. That's what I really call it. You don't want to be in a situation in which someone who your transaction, your business, what you are intending on has a 10-year time horizon, yet you're talking to someone who is planning on using the capital in 3. And because you chose, oh, it'll be easier if I do it this way, you didn't know that and you find out later. Because you must become a professional information gatherer. That means good at asking questions, then listening to the answer. Both of those things are required. You can't just ask the question and then keep going down the script. You wanted a prescribed say these things, and you know what? Then they'll give you the money. And I'm unfortunately have to disappoint you because the people that we have helped to make and earn and create a 7-figure lifestyle, they don't do that. You know why? Because this is what works. They become a professional information gatherer. They learn to use things like reverses, negative reverses, start, stop reverses. Yes, your tie downs, inverted tie downs, and many different techniques. Even how to use silence, such that you are able to put yourself in a position to gather information that you need in order to prescribe your deal, your transaction, your business as a potential financial solution. Well, sometimes other than financial solution as well, but as a potential solution for the thing that there is a problem for. Which does mean you must now believe or be willing to open your mind to the belief that just because someone has money, capital, currency, and maybe even a lot of it, you must be willing to believe that they still have a problem. And more importantly, a problem that you can solve. Now, before we get all, psychological and all this other stuff, and you're thinking, but why would they let me do it? Because it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the fact that they have a problem. Here's my point. When you go to the emergency room, or the last time you went to the emergency room, or if you've ever supported someone who is going to the emergency room, did you ever stop and ask the doctor or whomever came in to treat you, what was your grade in biology? When was the last time you washed your hands? Are you any good at what you do? Did you get enough sleep last night? You didn't ask any of those things. You know why? Because at that moment, it didn't care. You were in pain and you assumed everything looked right, so clearly they can solve the problem. And then you told them what was wrong. And then they asked some more questions. And you answered them. And then eventually they said, okay, here's what we can do. Here are some options. And you chose one. Even if one of the options was, nah, I'm good, I'll go somewhere else. You still chose an option and you left. And you know what? They didn't chase you going, but wait, you don't understand. No, they didn't do that. They served the next person. You must understand that the position you're in as an entrepreneur is central to the economy. Period. It's essential to every economy, and definitely the United States. Okay? And you are endeavoring to become that person, or a better version of that person than you already are. Because there are 4 major profit centers inside of every real estate deal and every business, every transaction that you have ever done. So when we're talking about those profit centers, this is where the profit analysis quadrant comes into play. Because you are leveraging the fact that you are creating either appreciation, amortization, depreciation, or cash flow in some way, shape, or form. That is what you are doing. You're creating that. That means before you, and possibly without you, it would not have existed for the person you're talking to, for the potential investor who is sitting in front of you. Understand, compared to what they currently have access to, you are most likely offering something that is significantly better by many orders of magnitude. But here's the difference. You got to believe that. We are here to support you in becoming the person who does this day to day, but you have to believe it. You have to be willing to become that person. Even if you weren't that person yesterday, aren't right now, I now give you permission. Boom, you are now that. That is your intent. That is what you are going to do, because that's what entrepreneurs do. We use the resources available in the marketplace to go out there and put them to productive capacity to generate more value for those that are a part of the enterprise, a part of the company, a part of the collection of individuals who are focused on bringing something to the marketplace. When it comes to attracting capital, it's about understanding that you're solving a problem. You're solving a problem. They're not spending the money. You're not giving them a water bottle or something. What you're giving them is a way to protect their purchasing power. That's the problem. See, part of the challenge is that the people that you may have spoken to before, maybe they don't have the level of financial intelligence to even understand that that's what you're doing. Or worse, you might think that what investors want is something that they actually don't want. In fact, oftentimes people say, well, Jay, this is the question. Jay, how much do I have to pay them in order to get... How much do I have to pay them in order to get them to invest with me? As if there's like some magic number, right? Because there's not. See, you must be willing to ask the questions to find out. Sometimes, depending on your background, you may go, well, I would never accept less than 9%. Awesome. Great. Is it your money you're asking for? No. Then what you would accept is irrelevant. What is relevant, however, is the person in front of you and their needs. They may perceive 9% to be more risk than they could ever handle. But yet you're leading with, to the marketplace, hey, does anybody know someone who needs who wants a 9% return? And you don't even realize that some people perceive that as too much risk. People who like you, know you, trust you, would gladly do business with you until you said 9%. But had you actually taken the time to find out what they wanted, you might have discovered something completely unique. In fact, here's a sequence of words that will assist you. Before offering, just ask someone, what is the return that you received on your last 5 investments? See if they can answer that question. A, if they can answer that question, that's a good sign. And then B, you might be surprised at what that number is. Okay? Now, also understand though, if someone has a number that you cannot hit, then it's a prime time to ask a different question. It's like, wow, that's a really, really, really great return. Why not just do that again? Why are we talking? What is it that you're hoping I would be able to do? Because it sounds like what you're doing is great, which means now they will tell me, they have to, why what they're doing isn't so great. And for those of you who've been paying attention, you realize what that technique was and where it just came from. But here's my point. All of that is in the realm of not finding out, not answering any questions. So I understand, what is their expectation? You don't know. You cannot make food for a dinner party when you don't know. Are these vegans? I don't know. Could you imagine? Like everyone shows up as vegetarian, but you didn't know that and you just wanted to make food. And you end up with a whole meat platter. And you're excited about it because it's the best meat platter in town. It doesn't matter at that time. You didn't take the time to find out what was important to them, what they wanted. And you say to yourself, and you might have done this in your head just now, oh, Jay, I would never do that. You already did. It is why you hear words like, oh, I don't know, I don't think that deal feels right, or I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense. And you've had no clue as to why they said that. And then you go, well, I'll pay 9% this time. That was never the problem in the first place. Understand, raising capital is no different than selling a water bottle. But because we're selling something that is intangible at that moment, it feels different. It seems elusive. It's like, how does that work? The process, my friends, is the exact same. And that's something you should be excited about because you've seen it before. You've bought maybe water bottles before. You have done this already, so therefore it is not a mystery. So what we've done is we've given you the context for the content you already had. So said very, very simply, your job, mission, should you choose to accept it, is to simply do this. It is to go collect guests, landlords, and investors. I recommend at least 200. And here's the good news. If you have a cell phone, you have all the people you need already in there. I didn't say that they were going to be the investors, did I? I told you earlier how to find out everyone that they know. Gave you some ideas on that. So easily within the next few days, before we are done with this, you could have found the capital you need. Only difference is depends on how hard you're willing to work. And it's that simple. The good news is we're going to be here to support you, just like I showed you in the video. Some of you might experience a failure event. That's okay. Some of you are going to experience many failures event. That's good. Some of you are just going to fail until you want to cry and quit. You're the person. You're the one. You're the one I'm excited about. Because that, my friends, is how it's done. That's how learning is done. That's how winning happens. It's because you're going to keep practicing. In fact, tomorrow we're going to talk about a concept that one of my coaches taught me. She likes to say that you, the entrepreneur, must train for your business in the exact same way that athletes train for their sport. Think about that for a second. Do athletes practice before they play the game? Do they train doing exercises that have literally, they're not actually playing the game at that moment, right? They're doing something completely different that looks like it's different and has nothing to do. But instead, you know what they're doing? They're building a muscle. It could be a physical muscle, could be a mental muscle, could be an emotional muscle, but they're doing it. They're doing it for the purpose of getting better at this game, but yet they're reading a book. They're doing it for the purpose of getting better at kicking the ball, yet they're running up and down stairs. They're doing it for the purpose of making sure that they can provide for their family, yet they're hanging out with their kids, intentionally resting. See, when you learn that business is a sport and that it takes just as much discipline and specifically can reward you in the same way that athletes get paid, then you can train. But you don't start at first round draft pick. We got to go through Pee Wee, Pop Warner, JV, varsity, college, all of that to eventually get to the quote unquote major leagues. Here's the good news. You've already started. You've been here for 2 days now. You've got some information that is beginning to empower you and hopefully helping you to feel like maybe I can do this. You can, by the way. That's why we're here. Because we believe that about you, even though we don't know your name yet. Yes, even you, the one who refuses to type anything in the chat. Yes, I'm talking to you. We're here for you. We are that parachute. My hope is that over the next couple of days, what you will do is you'll begin to take a risk, because I'm asking you to go and talk to the people that you do know. For no other reason than practice, if nothing else. Understand, even if you get 200 no's in the next 24 to 48 hours, you are still winning. You may not have driven the results you were after, but that too is okay. Because you will have more experience than the person who just sat on the sidelines trying to get it perfect and was like, well, it's not perfect yet. Tell them anyway. Tell them anyway. Because that's the only way it gets done. I know it was simple. I know it can appear like, that doesn't work. That's just some guy with a PhD, public high school diploma, talking. That is definitely an opinion you could have. And I'm fine with it. But before you throw it out, do me a favor. Go try it. Just try. Try. And if you can, try until you're ready to quit. Because see, when you're ready to quit, that's the time when you should remember why you got started in the first place. Now, tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how to find landlords, etc. And we're going to be back here at the exact same time as we were today. We're going to be here. We're going to spend exactly 1 hour with you guys, giving you the best expert tools we possibly can to get you back out there into the field, making it happen. It's not about us. We're here for you. We're here to help you take your next step, whatever that next step looks like. Because at the end of the day, we know, I know, and you know that your neighborhood right now needs more jobs, needs more opportunity, needs someone to organize it, step up and lead, and we believe that's you. So we're hoping that you'll join us tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon. Tomorrow we'll be, like I said, we'll be talking about landlords, etc. Or also, though, if you got here late and you're wondering, okay, what's all this about? What's going on? I want to make sure that you know you can go and look in the unit section right here. And what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to find not only this video, but yesterday's video, previous videos, the previous recaps, and the workbook. And you're going to want to make sure you watch 100% of the video, because if you don't, it will cost you money. Yeah, you. The workbook is worth real dollars. I promise you this, my friends. And what we want to do is I would rather you learn this stuff, because if you take the time to learn it, we know that over time we can help you create a multiple 6- and 7-figure business. Even if your mom, your teacher, your dad, your husband, your friend, your wife said, "You? I don't know about you." It's okay. We're here to support you. And if for any reason that didn't work, you can go to cashflowdiary.com/replays to make sure that you catch up on everything else that we have already done. Ladies and gentlemen, it's fun serving you guys. I appreciate you showing up, taking the time out of your day to be here, and hopefully we've been able to serve you. As I've said before, it's fun talking to you guys today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.